The University of Washington Library's Conservation Center opened in 2016, introducing a higher capacity for complex treatment options to care for our most important collections. To further broaden our ability to treat a wider range of condition issues, conservation staff identified early on the need for specialized treatment equipment. Thanks to important contributions by our donors, the Conservation Center was able to purchase the Museum Services Corporation book and document Leafcaster in 2019. The first major project our staff undertook using our Leafcaster was the treatment of the UW Music Library's 17th century manuscript of John Baptiste Lully's Aties Tragedy. This operatic score has endured much in its almost 350 years of use. Most apparent to Conservation Center staff was the significant water damage and subsequent mold growth. Additionally, the manuscript had undergone numerous repair campaigns, resulting in many overlapping and poorly aged repairs that had a cumulative effect on its use by our patrons. Seen under UV light, these previous repairs become more obvious, as does the staining and mold damage of the paper, the organic and synthetic adhesives being used, and the inherently fragile nature of the sites. Perhaps most significant was a liberal application of synthetic adhesive along the spine, seen here after the original cover has been removed. This well-saturated area has since hardened and had a significant impact on the manuscript's ability to be used without causing further damage. The result was all of the book's original gatherings were reduced to single leaves. Among many treatment steps employed on the manuscript was a good bath in carefully conditioned water. Next came preparation of new pulp. This new pulp is the result of a combination of ready-made wet pulp specially prepared for this project, and was developed for color and character in consultation with Twin Walker Handmade Paper of Indiana. An entire concentrated batch was created to be used throughout the project. For the day's leaf casting, this concentrated pulp had to be diluted according to a predetermined ratio and then blended to disperse the pulp fibers evenly. Each blenderful can be used for approximately 5 to 6 castings, which is about the limit of what can be achieved in an 8-hour day. This equates to 5 to 6 folios completed, or about 20 leaves repaired. Getting the precise amount of pulp needed for each cast is a complicated business. Historically, this was achieved using complicated formulas that account for square inches of loss divided by the thickness of the original paper times the thickness of a prepared sample. This process is labor-intensive and prone to error. Thankfully, Museum Services has created their Page Sizer software to assist users in producing easily repeatable and consistent results. Page Sizer uses digital photography to estimate the area of loss and spits out the precise amount of pulp needed for each cast. This significantly reduces the time and errors that accumulate over a project like this. To further prepare for leaf casting, our entire wet lab facility had to be reorganized and dedicated to the task. Leaf casting not only required the leaf caster itself, but also utilized our large suction table as well as multiple areas around the lab for staging of different needed materials like spun polyester sheeting and absorbent cloth. After filling the leaf caster's 20-gallon tank and preparing the casting basin, it's time to begin. The repaired leaves are supported on a layer of thin polyester sheeting, which sits just at the surface of the filled casting basin. This provides an easily handleable way to transport the newly cast leaves through the drying process. First, one side of the folio is positioned and then wetted, followed by the second leaf. During this stage, any small imperfections, creases, or folds are dealt with. Being carefully suspended in shallow water allows safe and minute adjustments as well as final checks for alignment. Only when the conservator is satisfied does the holding grate come down and the basin further filled with additional water. The pulp is then carefully added to the basin and the machine's suction turned on. This suction pulls the water, as well as the pulp, through the paths of least resistance, thereby filling all the open areas with the new pulp. Once enough water is removed within the casting basin, the conservator will then transfer the newly casted folio to the suction table. The suction table provides even more suction power and is very efficient at drawing out additional moisture from the cast folio. If everything checks out, the conservator will then transfer the folio to a series of drying stacks made of felts, more polyester sheeting, and absorbent cloth. These will then be rotated over the course of several days. Once completely dried, it's time for a final quality control check and adding the completed folios to the growing stack. Now it's time to start reassembling the manuscript into a book. Each of the folios are again checked for quality and cleaned of any loose fibers. They are then each nipped and folded along their spine. After resewing, the new binding starts to take shape. The difference in openability and movement through the pages is becoming more noticeable, as what were just a pile of loose leaves for those many weeks are starting to become a book. These decisions attempt to balance traditional and period-appropriate bookbinding structures with modern use and handling concerns. The results are often a hybrid of historical characteristics achieved with modern materials, structures, and reversible techniques. The final stages of any treatment we do here at the UW Library's Conservation Center includes evaluation of the long-term housing of the collections we treat. Often that requires us to create custom boxes that can accommodate not only the original object, but also any parts which were unable to be used. Access to the original, yet unused parts are important to the artifactual value of the collection item and must be housed with just as much care as the newly treated object. Though the end result may seem a dramatic departure from the original intent and aesthetic, the decisions made echo its historic use and prepare it for future use by our patrons. The UW Library's conservation staff wishes to thank everyone involved in the treatment of the Lully manuscript, as well as those donors who support our efforts through their continued interest and generous contributions. Thank you.